We also had an orchestra where some of the musicians stood together, and one musician was so good that he had the instruments playing and he wrote the notes, so later on we had a band who played over the weekend. And that was, of course, helping us. You know, we also did plays and stuff.
Were there any cultural activities happening in Auschwitz?
Yes. I told you we had a piano put into not just a piano, a grand piano was brought into block 1. Once that was built, that new block, the downstairs room was assigned for theater.
And they said they're gonna build a movie in the camp. And the president said, Oliver, you must be crazy. They're gonna make a movie for us in the camp. And really it happened. They made a movie in the camp. Okay. Yeah, and we went in barracks after barracks. We could go to see a movie sometimes in the evening. They brought movies in in the evening. And
what kind of movies would they show?
Well, German movies. Once I came to the main camp, we were allowed twice a month to write home. Once a postcard and once a letter.
They gave you the materials?
Yeah, they gave us the letter, the materials, and we could...
You had money?
Yeah, we still got money. The money we got through the Jewish community from Vienna who sent us, everybody, some money.
And in the camp you could have currency?
Yeah, we could have money because there was in camp also what they call a cantina. And not many times, but once in a while they sold a few cigarettes or they sold something, whatever they had. So if you had money you could buy in that cantina there. Redeemable in that cantina if they had something. So that was their way of distributing money then to everybody. Everybody got this money then.
Soccer teams were organized very well. And one of this top enlisted SS men decided he wants to play for the Polish team. So we say, okay, you can play for us. And then the commandant, SS commander, he was like a captain. He decided to want to play for the German team. So he went in the field. But that's happened. So, but it was 1944. So.
Is what you're saying then that the closer the end of the war came, pressure was let up rather than becoming more cruel? Or
Freddie Hirsch called me to the children's barracks. He was heading then, and he asked me if I could paint something on the wall for the children. And I said, well, if you can get the materials. He said, I'll get the materials. I said, okay. And then a very handsome young blonde man from the men's camp came over one day, and Freddie Hirsch called me to come and meet him, and he asked me what I need. So I said, well, if I can get any wall paints, so any tempera paints, I would like those. If you can get me some. And he said, yes, anything you want. So I made a painting of Dopey standing on another dwarf's head with a cloak around him, so he looked like a tall guy, so he would be as tall as Snow White. I now understand that there was another painter who continued painting on the walls after I've left.
What did it do not only for you, but for the children? On an emotional level?
Well, it did several things. Not just emotional, but the children then wrote a play which was a satire of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The play was very successful because the little girl who was playing Snow White had an incredible voice, a gorgeous soprano, just like the one that you hear in the movie.
Cyclone B dropped into the death chamber from a small opening. It took from 3 to 15 minutes. We knew when the people were dead because their screaming stopped. After the bodies were removed, our special commandos took off the rings and extracted the gold from the teeth of the corpses. Children of tender years were invariably exterminated, since by reason of their youth they were unable to work. Is that all true and correct, witness?
Yes.
It was the British who obtained, by torture, the confession of Rudolf Höss, commandant of Auschwitz, before turning him over to the Soviets and Poles. This has been confirmed in a book published in 1983 titled Legions of Death, which contains the recollections of British Sergeant Bernard Clark, who brags about having tortured Höss to get a confession out of him and of threatening his family. It was here that Höss was hanged.
rather wish the Führer had stood by his followers and taken the responsibility for his command.
Think of his position.
Oh, sure. His position as chief war criminal, right?
He was our sovereign. It would be intolerable for me to have him standing before a foreign court. You men knew the Führer. He would be the first one to stand up and say, I gave the orders and I shall take full responsibility. And I would rather die 10 deaths than have the sovereign subjected to such humiliation.